Oh, hello! Welcome to Gore's tutorial. So let's get started. So you're looking at things like this, and you're like, oh man, how can I paint nice-looking prisoner conscripts forced into the military like this? How can I do things like this? This looks great. This looks so good, and I just can't get myself to do this. Well, my friend, let me tell you, it's a lot easier than you think. I've really only been doing this for a couple months, and I'm already relatively experienced. Again, didn't paint before then, so how would I know? Simple. You watch a few tutorials, and then you stop watching tutorials, because those tutorials make you feel like you're incapable of doing anything. You don't want to be in that kind of nonsense. So, today I'm going to show you a tutorial. Yeah, crazy, right? So, I'm going to show you one where we take this guy that we've already glued together. Now, of course, you're looking at him going like, oh, do they come like this? Well, if you actually play this game, you already know that's a lie. So, to show you, you usually go with stuff like this. And this, we then get some of these nail clippers, I mean that works, or wire cutters, you know, things that can cut your fingers off, and you just go clip, 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 and then when you get it all, you then go to start putting it together, getting some super glue, getting a figurine, and going da 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 da, and voila, you are set. Now we have this little primed model, after we sprayed him down and stuff, how are we gonna start? Well, the thing we start with is some good old base colors. You always start with one main color. That main color is probably going to be the one that your army's mostly looking like. So don't think too much about it. Don't think at all. Painting isn't about thinking. I mean, take it like this. If a dad trying to avoid his family hiding in a hobby room can do this, so can you. So don't feel intimidated. Here we go. We are going to start by first getting a brush. Now there's a lot of different brushes you can go by, but let's just start with something simple. A medium Citadel brush. These brushes are overpriced, are nice, but not worth it. I suggest getting pretty much any other kind of paint brushes. But hey, I'm a man of bad choices, so this is the one we're gonna use. Bam! We got it right here. What is this? This is Fire Drake... Sorry, I'm not reading this right. This is Fire Dragon Bright. We want to go a nice little close-up. It's a very nice orange. I'm not going to talk much about it because you know what colors are, unless you're colorblind, which, by the way, if that's the case, then maybe you shouldn't be watching this. I mean, it's totally up to you. I mean, free to do what you want, but, you know, I'd feel sad if someone was telling me about colors and I couldn't ever see them. Now, generally, it's after you dip your paint, you would want to water it down or thin it, but because it's black and we really want to get a vibrant orange, we're actually gonna have to put a few layers on this. So just don't be afraid if you know what you're doing. If you don't feel confident, always thin it. But you don't have to if you know what you're doing. So we're just going to slap it right on this guy. It's okay if we're sloppy. It's okay to be sloppy if you know what you're doing. Again, just be confident in your actions. There's no need to thin it and all that trash. Just flop it on, get yourself that vibrant orange as much as possible, and if it gets on the boots or the other black parts, don't worry, we got a Abaddon Black to fix our problems. Oh shoot. And there we are, just like that, we have ourselves, look at that, right now we have ourselves a beautiful, nice little orange coated soldier. Now, of course, it looks like he's just black with some orange on him. But that's exactly the point. First layer done. And we did that only in like, say, a couple minutes. A little sloppy. We sadly took a little longer than I should have. However, we did get it done. And it wasn't hard at all. Just slap, slap, slap. Used a relatively medium brush. And overall, mission done. So, of course, it's on some other parts. It doesn't look perfect, but that's okay. We have solutions to that. Step 2. Actually, no. It's not that time. That's not step 2. This stuff is called magic, and it makes you look like you're a better painter than you really are. Who's got the time to train and become a professional painter when you're an engineer or you're working in an office and you got 3 kids to take care of? Am I right or am I right? You know, and then we're going to use some of, same paintbrush. Whoa! Actually, no. We're gonna use a bigger paintbrush. It is the Citadel medium shade. It's the Citadel medium shade brush. So as I was saying, right, we're just dunking this guy in this stuff. covering him. Just covering him. You just cover him up, blah, 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 blah. Does it look like I could do this with my eyes closed? Watch, I'm physically going to do it with my eyes closed here. Well, hold on. Let me be in a spot where I can actually do this while having my eyes closed. Like this. Wow, oh my gosh. I can't see what's happening, and it looks like it's working. Can you see how anyone can do this and stop thinking you're not able to? It is easy. Well, actually, my eyes are open now, but they weren't a second ago. I promise. I can assure you. How can you believe me? Don't worry, I make YouTube videos. You can trust anyone who makes YouTube videos. So, with that said, he's pretty much done with that part, so we'll take care of that in a second. But for the time being, get a paper towel, you know, one that you've used, nice and colorful, you know, green, blue, yellow. Congratulations, you graduated kindergarten. So now it's time to kind of brush off some of this stuff, because you want to make sure that it's not just covered in brown, it's just nice and the crevices are, so it looks like it's in depth, it looks artistic, it looks talented, it looks like you put more effort into it than you really did. Alright, voila, now look at that boy. Oh, you can't because you're blind. Alright. It's no different. Isn't that nice? He looks no different. It's crazy. So it's like we're gonna continue. Alright, so let's move on. Now, there's a bunch of little orange and brown spots all over the black, but that's okay. So to fix that black problem, we are going to, Abaddon Black. Which, by the way, Abaddon is this warlord of the powers of chaos. Don't worry, he's a cartoon villain for cereal boxes, because he obviously is incapable of doing anything more than, like, sneezing and failing. Alright, so, back to it. We're going to get a paintbrush. Now, we don't want the same medium one, because, you know, the medium and the large, they were great for just splotching on color, but now we actually have to pay attention and actually be good at our job. So we're just going to, oh dear. One moment. Do 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 do. Looks great. Alright, ignoring. Let's move on. So let's see. We need a more thin, precise paintbrush. We want a paintbrush like this. One that's like so pointy you can't see the bristles, because I don't know, this is an addiction, and you please seriously help. You see, the whole idea is that if we look like we knew what we were doing, by the end results, it doesn't matter what it looked like at first, it'll just be perfect. That's it. That's all we need. So right here, you maybe notice I'm being very careful, but I'm just leaving my hand on the table so it's more steady. Oh, I got super shaky hands. Well, then don't hold your hands up, silly, stupid. Just put it on the table. Voila. There you go. And there we go. He looks great. So now that that's done, we're just going to wash this paintbrush off. Clean it off. Remember, keep your paintbrushes clean. If you don't, you'll have to buy new ones, because obviously you didn't think that your brushes will be ruined by paint. Oh my gosh, it's almost like paint is just colored stains that we put on things. It's crazy, right? Oh my goodness, look at that, it looks great. Bam! Get out of here, we don't need that paint. This one is called Contrast Basilicaminium Gray. That's a word we're not gonna say again. So this nice little paint right here, if we're gonna line this up. Yep, that one is a pretty decent paint, and like the other one, it's a magic paint, contrast. And as all contrasts are, they're what makes our models look better than what we can actually do. So let's continue. Good old and nice and prominent. Because after I put this on, you're gonna see no difference in the model's coloring, but I'm gonna pretend it's gonna make a difference, because I can assure you, pretending to think there is a difference in your coloring is half of the hobby right there. Thinking that you're doing something when you're clearly not. But hey, you know, that's part of the fun. Now, as the contrast dries, we're gonna want to actually touch up the skin. Now, you may be thinking like, oh, skin, how are we supposed to paint that? Well, I can assure you, the first thing we do is get a dark pigment. Bam! Start with the dark, go to the light. How do you do that? You make it so you don't have to paint faces. Luckily, we don't have to paint a face on this guy because he's wearing a gas mask. But hey, you know, don't worry about that. Let's start with the Cadian, whatever it's called, Cadian Flesh Toad. Since this gas mask guy has these lines on his head, the straps for his gas mask, there's actually a lot of gaps I need to kind of jump over. So a tiny paintbrush would help in that endeavor. We're just gonna thin this out a little bit. Oh my gosh, thinning paints. But Gores, didn't you just say you don't need to thin paints? Well, I'm telling you now we're gonna thin the paints. And you're just gonna accept it and endure because that is all you're good for. And voila, just like that, we got ourselves nice little hands. Beautiful, right? Now we're almost done with this beautiful, nice little guy, but there's a few things we still have to do. So the first thing we gotta do is we gotta put some glow to his eyes. Bam! So folk art's a nice paint material, acrylic and all, and the reason why I like folk art mostly is simply because Citadel comes in these little baby paints. Look at that. It's a little baby paint. Put it in a little carriage, put it in a little basket. Oh, look at this little baby. Get this baby out of here. We don't need that. We need something that actually holds capacity. Something that actually will get you the paint you need and will last because it's, you know, about like twice the size of a contrast and like 3 times the size of a base. Look at that. Worth it. And just like that, we got one of the eyes. Perfect. Now we do it again. We just stress ourselves out to the point that our hands are shaking uncontrollably. And very carefully, actually, I noticed a way that makes this actually work a lot is if you put your wrists together, right? It steadies both hands together as they shake together. So then you can be very careful and just poke the spot you got, hoping that you actually were intending. Ta-da! We got his green eyes. Ta-da! Look at that, look at that, look at those green eyes. Look how beautiful those green eyes are. Oh, that's beautiful, right? And it was very easy to do. It was just stressful. And it's okay to be stressed out. I mean, your favorite games, you play football, you paint, you play video games. In all scenarios, you're stressing yourself out, but you like it. You like being stressed out. Welcome to Dystopia, my friend, because we like to live in our worst environments possible. We, I don't know, you can call it like an abusive medical Continuing. So, we are going to then move on to painting the gun itself. Now, generally speaking, they're like, oh, use iron belcher or like lead belcher, use this, use these metal paints. Nah, screw all that. We don't need all that crap. You see, every Christmas, every holiday, every time that joyful season comes around, large quantities of metal paint does too. And when this metal paint comes out, and right after the holidays, it is cheap. So I suggest getting yourself as many of them as possible, because you ain't going to run out if you got some capacity of these. They come in grays, they come in silvers, they come in greens, reds, they come in minty colors, blue colors. I'm running out of colors to say. You get the point. So we're just gonna shake this up. Shake it up like it deserves punishment. Alright, now we're going to open it up and we're going to put some of this on our soldier. And we can just literally take it right off the lid because it's perfect. It's perfect as it is. Now, of course, this is something you really are going to want to thin. Now, so after we kind of get it like this, we actually kind of want to dry it off on the paper towel of all places because we really don't want to get excess. Think of your hand as a piston and we're just going to go shoot, 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 shoot. And then you get that, right? That motion. Shoot, 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 shoot. And you start putting it into the machine. Shoot, 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 shoot. Just start brushing that all on. Get that whole gun. Get the whole gun. And voila, we get this nice kind of chrome on the gun. We're gonna do that again. Tap, tap. Dry it off. Pretend like you didn't want to use it. Like, oh, geez, that gray, that was a mistake. I gotta put it off. Get this stuff off. Now, then you're gonna like, psych, I actually did want to use it. And now I'm going to brush the backside. And we are just going to kind of tap that part. We're going to just tap this. We don't have to worry about the inner part too much because like and this is setting on the table, no one's gonna see that, and even when someone's looking at it closely, no one's gonna be like picking up and going, oh, I see that, you're a bad painter, get that trash out of here. No, I'm just joking. They won't do that. You know, that's the whole point, that they won't do that, because that's dumb, and no one does stuff like that. You gotta be real, be realistic. Now, just to make the mask look a little more pizzazzy, we're just going to kind of brush a little bit of metal right on the top of it. Well, with that done, we now do the last part to this entire tutorial. Now, there's technically 2 steps, but generally speaking, there is this little trick I like to do called being a little lazy. You gotta understand, this takes effort, and you don't want to be too effortful, too much effort. You don't want to exert yourself too much. So you want to be kind of cheerful, lax, and kind of, you know, lazy. So we are going to take, yeah, I just like smashing the table. If you haven't noticed, we are taking this, a nice full art metal. You see that beautiful shine to it? That's right, that's why we want it. And we're just going to layer that on top of the gun. So, let's start. Now, the one thing I know about this stuff is that this kind of has a hard time sticking, so you're gonna have to put a few layers of it on. But hey, since we already got the Aquila on this gun painted, we're just gonna try to paint around the Aquila. Because we don't want to try to paint the Aquila twice. That would be a problem. Now, there is one more thing to this conscript to make him look good. You may be thinking, what would that be? Well, our conscripts in my army has a nice red shoulder to indicate that they are part of the army and not just a criminal to be shot. Bam! You were gonna add a shoulder. Oh, that's right. So we were gonna add a shoulder. That's right. Okay, so let's, actually, why did I put that back? I want this one. And we're gonna use my custom paint. Yes, this is a red dye. Now we're going to... I call this red dye. This is a dice container that I put red paint in, and I mixed it up. I used a few different kinds to get it, but it's really a dark crimson. You have little flesh terrors, a little other kind of colors, but whatever, you won't be able to replicate it. If you ever do make your own paints, make sure you get large quantities and get those little paint containers, because the dice container is a bad idea. But like I said, we're here to make poor choices, so there we go. Now we got our red. I'm just gonna dunk that in here. We got a little more than we want, so let's kind of thin that out a little bit. And slap it on his shoulder. Just like that. Look at that. This man is done. Orange coat, red shoulder, red tinted gun, you know, the blade, metallic, green eyes, nice vibrant black. He's beautiful. Now you see the glue on the base, but that's okay. We're gonna do bases in another time. So hey, look at that. This is how you paint a soldier. Did so in less than 20 minutes, and just so you know, I know this video is edited down to be even less than 20 minutes, but generally speaking, I just did a few touch-ups and I skipped a few seconds here and there. Overall, solid painting. So thank you for your time, and you know what? Maybe you should thank the people that encouraged me to paint, like this wonderful little hobby shop that I work with called Mavericks. Mavericks has been one encouraging me to paint more, to make tutorial videos, and so on, to add to the community. If anyone is in the nearby area of Mason, north of Cincinnati, I suggest you check out Mavericks. Really nice place. So, thank you for your time, and you have a good day. Goodbye.